Welcome back to my little World of Tanks brief summary of tanks, which is actually turning out to be more than just brief. Originally, I planned just a brief going through, and it's actually kind of drawn out a little bit more as soon as I started hitting tier 5s, tier 4s, and 5s. But anyway, I'm working the German line right now. It's so far been proving rather fun. But fun is a relative term when it comes to World of Tanks. One person's fun could be a sick form of derangement to another. But, as here or there, let's talk about the tank in front of us. This is the Panzer IV-H. What can I say about this? First off, 10.5 millimeter gun this thing comes with is absolutely brutal. It's good and it's bad, but I've had more good than bad experiences. Actually, now I think about it, it's been pretty much 50-50 with the gun. Now, historically, this tank did not have the capability to hold a 10.5 derp gun, if you must. Um, what else can I say about the tank? I have absolutely... I'm never going to sell it. I've had this crew since 75% trained, and they're practically all the way trained on their first skill. And I kept it as since then, and I try to play at least 1 or 2 games in this tank as much as I can. You know, I find it enjoyable. I mean, the armor's not too bad, 80, but the only problem here is when you compare it, the 3.4, the 3.4 still has slanted armor and sloped armor. That is more than sufficient to deal with some tanks that slope, but 80 straight thick. This whole piece right here, you can see is welded right on, is 80 millimeters thick, and this is probably the thickest part, and I'm going to guess possibly the next thickest part, because I'm not going to Tank Inspector to look this up. If you want a more thorough, detailed review of the vehicle, just head over to the, well, I can't say the Mighty Jingles like I was going to say, because he still has his old review of his Panzer IV when it was just Panzer IV and no other tanks than just the Panzer IV. Check out other people video that do tank reviews and stuff. They will pretty much talk to you about it, and if you like stats and whatnot, they'll tell you. And I'm pretty sure though that this is 80 here and 80 here, and these are the heaviest armored spots on the tank itself. Um, Again, this tank comes with Scherzen. If you saw my Panzer 3.4 video, you know right now that I think Scherzen can be helpful. Like I said, they're held together by little support. And they got sides that come off the lower hull here and on the upper hull here to hold it there. They weren't meant to deflect high hitting AP shells, you know. These were meant specifically for just HE rounds. That's all it was. And artillery blasts, it would blast, let's say, like over here. It would help reduce splash damage. But that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what the Scherzen is meant for. I mean, during World War II, any soldier that got close enough to the tank could just slap a mine right on there, and kablooey, guess what? It's gone. It probably could damage the hull, too. That's why later in the war they would put mesh Scherzen on, and the mesh Scherzen helped fight that. I don't think they ever put Zimmerit paste on it though. That's something I would have to look. I would imagine the Zimmerit paste would weigh this down even more, and these little supports on the side would just bulk under pressure. I don't think they would I don't think they would put the anti-magnetic paste of Zimmer on the sides. On the tank itself, yes, I'm pretty sure somewhere on here in the game. Maybe I don't know. I haven't seen any tanks that had Zimmer in the game yet. I'd have to look through all the models. I don't think there's any though. Anyway, Panzer IV-H. What do I have to say? It's slower than the D. Slower than the 3-4 for sure, but it packs a hell of a lot bigger punch than all of them, than both of them, I should say. It's only because of that derp gun. That derp gun is comical at times. I mean, if you want to have a good day and you're having a bad day, and if World of Tanks allows you to have a good day, shoot someone in the back with this or on the side and watch this huge, massive chunk of yellow just vanish as they're left with a smidgen of life left. Now, earlier I mentioned that this gun is a good thing, bad thing. And a reason I say that is, good thing is when you actually penetrate someone, the damage done is astronomical. You can really fuck up a tank really bad. You can even one-shot stuff. Panzer, once he's getting hit with this, is instant death. Instant death. You just wipe out their entire life with one shot. And, in fact, you could overshoot how many hit points of damage. I mean, if you were just to add up whatever the Panzer 1C's hit points was and compare it with the shell damage over here is, I'm pretty sure you'd overpass it by a lot. But again, like I said earlier, you have to penetrate, and that is 48 to 80 penetration, and that is kind of bad. Now the game is notoriously bad with its RNG, and that's another thing. The accuracy on this gun, oh my god, it showed me sometimes. You're not supposed to be sniping in this tank with this gun. If you're sniping with this gun, you're playing the tank wrong. You don't snipe with this gun. Don't expect to be shooting targets and the shots are going to go directly straight ahead. Now, they have a bit of an arc to them. I mean, I've seen some tanks in this game have a ridiculous arc, and that I want to just slam my head against the wall seeing it. I mean, some tanks like, say, the Matilda has one. The Churchills have a derp gun. AT-2 Tank Destroyer has a derp gun. And when they shoot, it literally looks and feels like the shot does not come out the front of the barrel. It literally feels like it's blowing out the top of the barrel and arcing, almost like someone who's throwing a football and you're throwing the arc to the football, or if you're more into it, a catapult. You're lobbing boulders over castle walls instead of through. I mean, literally, some of the shots feel like they're just blowing out of the top of the gun and arcing over like that. I mean, I know it's not, but sometimes it looks like that. It definitely feels like it. Some shots just fall down on top of the tank, because of course the top part of a tank is the weakest as well as the underside. But yes, this derp gun, I don't know what to say about it. When it hits, it's devastating. Usually, if it penetrates, I've had many games where I've hit targets, and this bull crap of 263 to 438 shell damage is ignored, I think is the proper word here. It's just ignored, because when you're whipping out double-digit numbers, and sometimes I've even gone as far as single-digit numbers, you just want to slam your head against the wall a few times, you know? Just can't believe how bad the tank's main gun could penetrate. It's just, ugh. It's infuriating. Especially, more infuriating is if you know the tank you're shooting and know the weak point, and you hit the weak point and you get nothing out of it, or barely any damage out of it, it's frustrating. It really is. You need to have RNG on your side when dealing with this gun. That's what it is. If you don't have if RNG's against you, you're screwed. I mean, you punch a hole through anything with a thing. If you can, you're going to cause a colossal amount of damage, and that's the thing. If you do, Most of the times RNG says, haha, your shot's not going to even connect. I've had shots where I've been shooting a turret in the shot of a tank, and the shot literally goes into the tracks instead because RNG says you're not aimed high enough, even though you're crosshair and you're in sniper mode and you're aimed at the guy's turret and you fire, the shot falls short and tracks eat it of the enemy tank. Also, other tanks have no problem hurting this thing. Tier 3s, though, I wish I could say I've had a lot of Tier 3 matches in this thing, but that's the strange thing about the matchmaker. As soon as you hit Tier 5, or the minute you hit a certain tier, the last tier becomes exceedingly harder to get to. Because when you're at Tier 3, you see Tier 5s. But when you get to Tier 5, your chances of seeing Tier 3s are relatively low. Surprisingly, I've had a lot of Tier 7 games in this thing. And sometimes the tank just can't deal with higher tiers. Again, the game has more than enough tanks to deal with just one above, one below. There's more than enough, but they want to push the tank to its utter utmost limits. In some tanks, it can't handle that type of limit. Anyway, what would I supply this thing with? Some people want to snipe, but not with this gun. They can put a camo net, yes. Vents, yes. Gun laying, I have mine duped out to vents, rammer, and a gun laying drive to cut back on the reload time and the accuracy of this awful gun. I mean, the derp gun is awesome when it hits and causes damage. It's sucky when you hit a target and does no damage, or the damage is low because it didn't penetrate anything, or you just outright miss by a country mile, as Jingles would say. But that's that. I mean, I wish I could go on more and more about the tank, but I'm just happy with it. Would I suggest it? Sure, play it a little bit. I mean, the next tank is the VK3001P or the VK3601H. You can go either way there. And the strange thing here is I don't think I have this tank leaded out. I don't think I do. Which is strange. I might, I don't know. It might be eluded out, I would imagine. I mean, I played a ton of battles in this thing. This is one of my favorite tanks in the game, so yeah. Anyway, that is the Panzer IV-H. I try to make this video shorter than the other ones. I hope this helps new players and casual players a little bit. I mean, if you're looking for more depth stuff on it, look up other people that do reviews on this. I'm not going to sit here and talk about angling of the armor. All the stats are right here. I mean, if you're looking for more on armor, you can go download the tank application and check it out that way. I mean, that's that in a nutshell. See you next time.